David Morgan, themorganreport.com. We are doing the backstage interview at the Metals Investor Forum in June 2021. And I have Darrell Rader from Minaurum Gold. And before I get going, just say, Darrell, I know I put a few miles on me, but you look about the same. I don't think you're getting enough sun down here in Mexico. A couple of things I got to disclose. One, Minaurum Gold has been on the paid subscriber list for quite some time. I own it, pretty familiar with the company, know one of the major hedge fund managers. It's highly recommended it. I really like it for a variety of reasons. And before I go any deeper, Darrell, why don't we start just having a little discussion in this backstage interview and get some information back and forth about your company.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, David.
I guess one of the first questions, is, why is it named Minaurum Gold? I know you've probably heard that 100 times. So could you just give us that quick answer?
In a nutshell, Minaurum was actually formed as a mag gold concept vehicle. So we had a lot of the same founders as mag silver. And when the vehicle was being put together, they thought, well, we can't call it mag gold. We should give it a different name. And it was the largest shareholder and one of the original financiers behind the company that basically got the naming rights as part of his original investment in Minaurum. So it became Minaurum Gold, and that was our focus, gold. But as I mentioned in our presentation, times changed. We started exploring a silver project that really got the market's attention, which is now our flagship project, I should say. And I would say now over probably the last year or so, we've been getting a lot of inquiries, of course. Are we going to get silver in the name? Probably over the next couple, maybe 6 months to 12 months, that's something we'll be discussing in-house, is putting silver in the name, probably as part of trying to seek a main board listing here in the United States.
Well, there's good reason for that, Darrell. As you probably know, at the top of the market, a silver company, a gold company will sell, X times earnings, and a silver company will be about a 3X. Something about silver.
Yeah.
When things get real frothy. So one of the things that you already brought up is, the people. It's very important. Obviously, you as CEO, know and trust, all that. But behind that, you've got Dr. McGaw, who's probably, in my view, the world's best geologist, at least in Mexico, and been there, done that kind of a team. And also the size. I mean, this is a district size situation. So I get gnawed at a little bit from my members that, geez, it's not going fast enough. Well, when you have something of this size, you just don't go in and stick a few holes in the ground and say, yeah, we've got it, we're ready to roll. Can you back me up on that a little bit?
Yeah, when you have a district, the worst thing you can do is make a discovery on one vein out of many, and then you get pigeonholed into sort of that one discovery. And if you get into the idea that you're now drilling off, say, 30, 50 meter step outs, you start drilling an area into Swiss cheese, maybe a year or two later, you put out a resource, maybe it's 20, 30 million ounces, good grade, the market gives you a bit of a boost, but then you're sort of left like, what's the next step here? Is that all that's in the district? The market will sort of, almost write off the district as being a 20, 30 million ounce district potentially. And so we took the different approach where we said, okay, we want to first prove this is a district and then start drilling off the individual veins. Because when you're looking at maximizing the value of a project for an ultimate takeover, you want to make this thing as big as possible, as quickly as possible. And the way you do that is by being aggressive on the drill bit, punching holes into as many of the veins as possible, getting good results out of these veins, and then stepping back and starting to systematically drill these off. So we've taken an approach that's much more sort of mag silver oriented, I'd call it, than say maybe kind of more Silvercrest oriented, where they went underground and started sampling and were very systematic in that nature. We took more of the mag approach, which was look in a historical area for new things the old timers missed. And that hunt for new has sort of kept us away from some of the, I'd say, more obvious targets that had seen historical production, because we were on the hunt for those new ones that all the historical guys had missed.
I don't know if I can ask you this, but I will. I mean, we know it's big. We don't know how big until the truth meter gets, put in several places. But just, can you say anything on a rule of thumb? I mean, I think I'm allowed to say almost anything. They're still freedom of speech in the newsletter business, but I would say, am I out of my mind to say I think it's big or bigger than MAG? Can that's my feeling. Am I like, no, David, you got it wrong. The district, if everything hit, it's 1/3 the size of MAG. Can you comment on that?
Um, well, MAG's in, the Juanicipio project is in the Fresnillo district, which is one of the rare billion-ounce camps. Um, uh, I would say Alamos is sort of a tier 2 camp, which is a sub-billion-ounce camp, but at least minimum several 100 million ounces. So when you look at the way we look at Alamos, is Alamos historically had 200 million ounces of silver production on our project come out of 3 mines. We know that out of those 3 mines, there was approximately about 5 silver shoots that were mined. They ranged anywhere from 15 million ounces in size historically up to 100 million ounces. So what we've been trying to prove to the market is that these 2 veins that hosted, 5 shoots in 3 mines and did 200 million ounces of production are not an anomaly. And so our focus has been on finding as many veins as possible that have the same characteristics as the ones that were historically mined. We know there's silver left over in the historic mines. I talked about that a little bit in the presentation. But really the target remains a virgin discovery in a historic camp. And as I mentioned, silver shoots range sort of between that 15 million to 100 million ounce range historically. I think we're possibly onto a couple of shoots here at the Europa Guadalupe vein target, at the Promontorio target. San Jose could potentially be a new shoot, but that requires a lot more drilling, which we'll be doing here in a few weeks. And then the hunt is on for more shoots. Ultimately, our goal as Minaurum is to discover and sort of get our teeth into at least 5 separate shoots, and then we'll start doing resource style drilling at that point. But until we get our teeth into those 5 shoots, sort of the hunt continues, and we're just going to keep drilling and advancing these separate veins as we explore them. But as a sort of all-encompassing idea, we have 26 separate veins there, and only 2 of them saw significant historical production. The vast majority had no historical production.
Very good, thank you. So, it's not easy to put in a mine, as we both know. I mean, by the time you do drilling required, you do a preliminary economic assessment and all that. And don't look at this as a negative, it's just a question. Do you think you'll be able to put this mine into production during this cycle, or do you think it might not happen until the following cycle?
It's our goal, as I mentioned, to basically get at least 5 shoots delineated, not necessarily older resource level, but basically when you're sitting at 5, there's a number of majors that if you've seen some other silver news releases of talking about JVs with majors, they sometimes, talk about seeing a number of shoots. So it's that number of shoots that's kind of key for us. We want to hit that number of shoots or more, and then look at monetizing during this cycle the asset. And that monetization may be selling to the highest bidder. It may be like doing a MAG style deal, but richer for Minaurum, let's say, where you bring in a senior partner that can put it into production. The great thing about this area is it has excellent infrastructure. You have Mexico's 3rd largest open pit copper porphyry mine directly to the north, adjacent to this. They have some spare capacity in their flotation plant. There's a number of other big flotation mills floating around, like the 15,000 ton per day Pan American Alamo Dorado mill that is still looking for a home. Mm-hmm. I would say the key here is find what you need to find as quickly as possible. We are working off a 2-year time frame to get to that monetization decision, and we'd love to get this thing into production through a partner or ultimately through a takeover partner during the cycle.
Very good. Thank you, Darrell. Well, we're running short on time. Is there anything I haven't asked that our investors need to know about your company?
I would say, thanks for your patience, everyone. For a lot of our investors, this COVID-induced pause that we had to go through over the last 6 months has been a pretty tough process for us as a company. It's hard seeing your peer group start to trade. You're starting, it's hard to see the market rewarding good drill results. It's been a long time since that happened. And meanwhile, we're sitting there waiting for COVID to moderate in our area. So we're excited that now we're finally going to get drilling. We just announced a big financing. I think some of the participants in that will excite the market as well. And we're going to have very steady news flow moving forward on the Alamos project with silver results, but as well as some of our JVs like Fortuna Silver JV, where they're going to start drilling on one of our projects. And I think we're going to have a great 6 months ahead of us of news flow.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. I guess I'll just have to end with 3 words: hi ho, silver away. I guess that's 4. Good to see you. I hope to see you in person in the not too distant future.
Likewise. Thanks, David.